Good evening and a very warm welcome to the 142nd non-stop weekly PLG poetry meet.
Good evening, sir.
I'm Tufail Ahmed here, Global Vice President of PLG, and we have an episode for English Special today. That's English Special Poetry, and we have poets here from all around the world. And our chief guest tonight is Louis Wagner, Miss Louis Wagner from South Africa. She had been Oman for quite some time, and we used to have her in our local poetry meet. And we have our anchor today, a very young and very talented poet, Likhita. She had been in Oman for quite some time, and now she is pursuing her studies in Hyderabad, India. She is back in Muscat for her holidays, and today she is hosting the program. I have found her as one of the best young talent which I have met, and I'm sure you are going to have we are going to have a very good poetry session tonight with all the talented poets over here and a talented anchor like Likhita. So please welcome Likhita with a big round of e-clap. Over to you, Likhita. You are mute.
Good evening, my dearest petals of roses and combs of honey. Why, isn't it mine pleasure to be back hither again? As long as mountains live and the lakes see the ripples of water, mine love for poetry shall prevail. Thy love for poetry shall live. I am Likhita Kavuru. I'll be thy trusty subject through this journey of emotions and fantasies. May I please crave all of thou to brace yourselves as thou art about to travel back in time. I'll take all of thou back to a period where thou shalt relive all the golden moments of English literature. I'll be the tour guide. Back in the day when English in particular had milestones as such, they were divided into prominent different periods. I led thee tour into each one of them, and I welcome thou into the 142nd Mushaira. Before we step into the world of poetry, may I humbly crave Miss Louis Wagner. Prithee, please say a few words and address the event.
Good afternoon or evening, wherever you are. Thank you so much for inviting me to join you all today. It is a great honor to be here. I have dabbled with poetry, or should I say, rhyme, since I was a child. I wrote on and off over the years of my life, but living and life got in my way. Meeting Tufail in Oman was such a great opportunity for me to reconnect with my passion for this art form. By attending poetry events in Oman, I was forced into writing more regularly, and I discovered many new, innovative and creative ways to express myself. It was great fun. And that is just one reason why we should express ourselves through poetry, to have fun while we share with the world what is on our hearts and in our minds. With poetry, we can reflect on our lives, past, present, and future, and imaginary. This can be most therapeutic as we slow down to write. It also helps us to deal with difficult situations and to process our emotions. We can explore and process our innermost thoughts and feelings and share our personal experiences or opinions in a safe environment. Doing this provides us with an opportunity to gain new personal insights and self-awareness, to understand ourselves better. We learn to be vulnerable in this safe environment and to reveal hidden parts of ourselves. Poetry can be used to connect with other people and other cultures and with nature. It removes loneliness as we explore the beauty that is all around us, in people and in the beauty of our environment. And it inspires us to think differently and more creatively. Poetry is the perfect medium for creating awareness around social issues and can be used as a tool for social change. You can leave a legacy, a memory of your life and thoughts and your beliefs and your experiences. So continue to capture your thoughts in this manner. Share your work, grow. I'm so looking forward to hearing your words today. Thank you.
I gramercy thee, my lady. Poetry can connect with cultures, people, and nature. Thou hast spoken words in gilded forms. And now, as we step into our program, I would like to begin with the Anglo-Saxon era. Once upon a time, twixt the 1400s, the 450s, and the 1660s, prevailed the Anglo-Saxon era. The age when words knew how to compose bees and flowers fall in love. The story of Saint George and the dragons. Chronicles of the hero's exploits, notably his slaying of the monster Grendel. Humbly we honor Evan Kingdom's guardians, the measurer's might, and his mind plans. The goals of the glory Father. First he, the everlasting Lord, established the earth's fearful foundation. This is an excerpt from the Caedmon's hymn, written around the 658 to 680 AD. Is Anupam Pathak sir around with us? If he is, please grace the stage with a little touch of poetry, my lord. Pardon me, sir, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
It's great. Thank you for the opportunity given to me to start the program as such. And greetings to the chief guest today, Mrs. Louis Wenger. It was a very good words which she gave, and it was quite informative and good. And I would like to greet the President, Mr. Tafal Ahmed and Semi Kumari. And with their permission, I would like to start. Can I begin, sir? With your blessings, I begin. As the year comes to an end, there is an expectant glint in the eyes for welcoming the chiming bell, the reindeers, and the exuberant Santa on a sleigh, and an important year comes to an end. PLG has witnessed a flurry of celebrations every Saturday, and it never seemed that the year is going to end. And most importantly, it witnessed a glorious 100 as an icing on the cake. The thought of a red coat, ever happy oldie on the sleigh, who is about to come on 25th, my imagination set racing in an entirely different direction. So friends, as I see on the stage, how old are you? This is a question which I ask not to be answered, because from the very beginning, from the very childhood, every child faces the same question and taught for the nursery, so to say, I am 9 years old for an interview. But what is an age? For me, age is nothing but an abbreviation, a general inquiry. AGE, a general inquiry. And it is used to start a sentence, to break an ice and start conversing. Just that. But this inquiry has put aging into an undeserving limelight, suppressing the dire need for maturity instead. As my pen was exploring the dicot thought it delivered twins, one consciously and one surprising as a result of daydreaming. Because poets daydream. Unless they dream, they cannot write. So I seek your ears to to my both of my creations, which one is linked as I was writing and one which I was daydreaming. So I begin. Here I begin. My first poem. It is titled "Old or Mature." Days pass by, months pass by, even years pass by, adding digits to number I am known by. Old age, I wonder, I often ponder, does it really deserve such an attention? What about maturity? Old age and maturity? Does spring follow the winter, or is it the other way round? Or simply, it is snow that blossoms? Old age aspires for support, maturity becomes that support. Old age hides silver in ebony camouflage. Maturity glistens spontaneously. Old age suspects new thoughts. Maturity clears all the doubts. Why drown beauty in cardinality? Why count? Let's survive the maturity. Jettison the concern about age and let it flow as destined. For age is just a number. Doesn't fruit sweeten as they ripe, as wine as it ages? With this question, my first poem ends, but then also my daydream. My daydream was much more deeper than the what I was saying. And it says, how old am I? How old am I? From the time I started comprehending words, I often heard, how old are you? As I asked the question to all of you, how old are you? From the time I started comprehending words, I often heard, how old are you? Confused. Since I was in a dream, still I was confused. Confused. Once I rushed to my granny and asked, how old are you? She smiled sweetly, toothless smile, no doubt. She smiled and said, I don't know, my dear. Unlettered she was. She further added, I can't see the trees I grew with. I was confused. Still confused, I rushed and found my parents and posed the same question. My father looked up from the book he was reading and ruffled my hair and said, I am 40 years old. But my mom, but my mother smiled. She smiled on both of us and drew me near and circled her arms, holding me close to her, and said softly, old? Hardly. I'm as old as you are, for I was born with you. Words reverberated. As I listened, they seemed to emanate from her heart, as I could fathom her heartbeat as she spoke. Still, I forgot Since then, I forgot how to count years. But when I saw her no more, I remember her words. And I thought, have I grown old today? Sensing my eyes about to well, my child embraced me, and the silence that followed the tears hastened my heartbeat, and I was young again. Thank you. There I end my poem. Thanks a lot.
I gramercy, sir, and like thou hast asked, what is age? The meaning of age differs with definitions, and the definitions differ with people. Indeed, I thank thee, sir, I thank thee. And as we move forward,
Likhi, just a
Yeah.
moment. They say age is all in mind. It doesn't matter as long as you don't mind.
very true, ma'am, very true. Very true.
Well said, well said.
And now we move to the Middle English period. And now I hold thy hand and take thee into the world of Canterbury tales. A wild tale talking about the knightly deeds, enticement, and worldly landscapes. Roller coasters indeed, from 1066 AD to 1500 AD. But oh, they yell in moss. Ahoy, they call, mind them. Tired they are, not a good day, they long to rest, they do. An excerpt from a poem written by Geoffrey Chaucer. If Shekhar Anand sir is around, if yes, sir, please rule the stage, for it is all yours.
Yes, Likita, I am here, watching you brilliantly, hosting the show.
Thank you, sir.
Always pleasure to listen to you, to watch you. Thank you so much for inviting me to the wonderful stage. And it is always a privilege to come here and speak something about poem, whatever I write. First of all, my warm good evening to Mrs. Louis Wagner, our chief guest. Warm good evening to Tufel sir, Simi ma'am, Anupam sir, and everybody present here watching the show over our live feed. So today I'm going to recite a poem. The title of the poem is A Drop. A drop falling from the sky, thinking will do good before I go dry. Undestined, unclaimed, untamed, pulling all its strength to the very end, rolling and falling down through the wind, millions of thoughts pouring in its mind. No, not to the ocean, I will be lost within, neither into river, I am done traveling. Desert, I am afraid, has miles of dryness. Am I too timid for mountain, or it's just shyness? Oh God, be it a petal who's going to dry, those thirst-ridden lips, or in the eyes can't cry. Or the lap of a shining shell and turn me in a pearl. I will be a decor to an ornament of a beautiful girl. Maybe a barren land, I can make it fertile. Put me to use, O Lord, I may vanish in exile. That's my poem there. Thank you so much.
I don't see no way thou art timid from the mountains, sir,
Thank you
because
so much.
thou surprise me. You are an extraordinary poet, my lord.
Thank you. Thank you.
With that,
Very good poem.
my dearest, with that, my dearest people, we step into the Renaissance era. I'm sure you've heard of it. The Renaissance, 1500 to 1600 AD, the rebirth of English, the rebirth of economic, cultural, artistic, politic, and social aspects of English, rebirth of the finest poetry ever written and thou will ever read, the battle for the freedom of thought and poetry. My people have fought for the freedom to be able to write. Presenting you an excerpt from a poem only for Arunima. My love, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Sonnet 18 by William Shakespeare, one of the most renowned poet of the Renaissance era. Arunima, my love, please grace the stage.
Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction, Vikita. I don't think that was much deserving. And good evening to everyone. It's been really long, so I was really excited, and I was writing a poem about thinking about the struggles that I recently had, because we had a tough time getting admissions and everything that was going on. So I just wrote a poem seeing all my friends and the surroundings. So I would like to name it as Us. I closed my eyes and lay by the edge of the terrace, letting the wind brush against my face, my cheekbones, my mind, while getting the flashbacks, some dumb, some cute, some bitter, some amusing, some really exciting ones. It's been hard on you, hasn't it? Time always does that. That's not surprising anymore, I believe. I pulled her in my embrace as I say, it's going to be all fine, while she remains frozen. Who are you and how did you know? I smile as I press my lips against each other for a moment. Don't worry about that. That's our little secret. Still shivers. I'm a student, and you're my teacher. You're the reason I no more have tears left to shed. You're the reason I've gotten more aware. You're the reason I changed everything. I'm all new, strong, and all set to go. You've taught me well. You've taught me well. These all will vanish into thin air one day in no time. Don't worry, honey. I'll teach you well. Thank you.
Very nice, Arunima. Very nice.
The winds may blow and the waves may stride. You and I will forever be us, my love. Thank you, Arunima. And now, let's take baby steps into the Elizabethan era. Poets and dramatists drew inspiration from Italian forms and genres, such as the love sonnet and pastoral and allegorical epic. Musicality, verbal sophistication, and romantic exuberance dominated the era's verse. Is Miss Ruchi Jain around? Madam,
Yes, I'm
thus
here.
we see how the soul doth use the eyes as instruments of her quick power of sight. Hence do the arts, optic, and fair paintings rise. Painting, which doth all gentle minds delight. An excerpt from Nos Tapsum, written by John Davies in the Elizabethan era. Ma'am, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, dear. You are doing very great. And hello, everyone, and wonderful evening to everyone. Thank you to Fel sir and Simi ma'am. This is my first time to recite here in English poetry. I'm basically written in Hindi. Warm welcome to Louis Banerjee. And I'm just here to share my some thoughts and some feelings which I have penned down in on the papers, and just want to compare my feelings with the nature. And the title of my poetry is "I am thinking of you." Just need your attention. The sun is going down for tomorrow, and the stars and moons are growing in a row. All the birds are going back to the nest. All creatures are doing rest. Everyone rejuvenating themselves. But I'm still awake. Sorry, getting disturbed. Sorry. I'm starting again. The sun is going down for tomorrow. Stars and moons are going in a row. All the birds are going back to nest. All creatures are doing rest. Everyone rejuvenating themselves. But I am still awake because I am thinking of you. Blowing wind, thunder sound, dropping rain, doing wound. I am feeling some agony in my heart, but I am still silent because I am thinking of you. Few birds chirping at the window, cool wind entering from below. Like someone knocking on the door, sea waves touching the shore, everything showing them alive, but I'm still feeling inanimate because I'm thinking of you. Because I'm thinking of you. This was my first poem, and just want to share the another one if give your permission, Professor. Yeah, just thank you. And the second poem title is Beautiful Golden Heart. My dearest love. These are complaining, the loves are complaining with each other, and just I'm just sharing that thoughts in my poem, Beautiful Golden Heart. What is the feeling of a person? Just I'm sharing. My dearest love and my sweetheart, you never showed your past, kept everything inside you. You have a beautiful golden heart. You are a great lover. You are a great giver. But I never judged you from inner. Please forgive my all the mistakes which I am doing and did ever. Everything is destroying in this world, but my arrogance is still awake. I want to come back to you, but neither I nor my evil can take. Please give me a chance to escape my all hidden evils and ready to change myself with all my arrogance and evils. Only you can give. Only you can give that gift a new start because only you have such a loving and beautiful golden heart. Such a loving and beautiful golden heart. Thank you. Thank you,
Very
Ritika.
nice, very nice.
You've won the hearts of ours, madam. You have indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. And now, I would like to introduce the neoclassical era. Do they have any idea as to why it is called the neoclassical era? This period has gotten its name because its writers looked back to the ideals and art forms of classical times, emphasizing even more than their Renaissance predecessors the classical ideals of order and rational control. Happy the man, and happy he alone, he who can call today his own. He who secure within can say, tomorrow do thy worst, for I have lived today. An excerpt from a poem written by John Dryden. Miss Pallavi Jain, Madam, thou can take over the stage now.
Thank you, Lithika. And I'm amazed with your anchoring. Very beautiful. With the permission of Chief Guest Louis Wagner, Tufel sir and Simiji, can I start my poetry?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's my poetry is about the emotions of a mother, and I think many of you will relate with it. You know what happened? I just dropped my son to university a couple of months back, so these are basically my emotions. And title of my poetry is Flow. It was just yesterday, after a long labor, I got the most precious gift of life, you, my son. And today, you are all ready to leave the nest, to discover your own path, and to make your own destiny. Time is like a river, always flowing forward, never goes back. With you, I have lived and enjoyed each and every moment. Life is like a river. Sometimes it's sweet and gentle. Sometimes rapids come out from nowhere. When you will step out in the real world, away from the cocoon of my love, be open, be like a river, flow. Do not hold on to the things. Work hard. Time is the greatest teacher. Time and opportunity waits for no one. So be there, be present. You have got to own your days and live them, each one of them. You have to go with the flow, maintaining control and balance. Like all rivers must have a beginning, you, my son, got to begin your own journey. I will be there for you, like a lighthouse. You are an inseparable part of me. You may outgrow my lap, but you will never outgrow my heart. Thank you.
Wow, very nice. And the last line
Thank
was
you.
the punchline. You may outgrow my lap, but not the heart.
Yeah, we all can relate with that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we all can relate with that, Pallavi. Very well said, very deeply thought,
Thank
and
you.
nice advice for not only for your son, but all of us in general.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We're air drawn in thy robes of love, my lady. Thy emotions are raw and precious. I gramercy thee. Thank you so very much. And before we move any further into the world of literature, can we please take a moment to appreciate the magazine that PLG team has worked so hard to compile? May I please request Mrs. Vibha Tiwari to please display the magazine, if she is here. I guess she isn't.
I think her connection is lost. So, Likita, I would suggest you keep an eye, and maybe after the next poet, if she's there.
Definitely.
Anyway, I will send you a message if she joins.
Definitely, sir. All right. And from there, I hope you have all heard of the Romantic era. This filled up the 18th century with the crimson shade of red. The cheeks were tinted, and so were their hearts. Is Madame Zahra around? Oh,
Yes,
my
she's
love.
there.
Oh, my love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. Oh, my love is like the melody that's sweetly played in tune. So fair art thou, my bonny lass. So deep in love am I. An excerpt from Red, Red Rose by Robert Burns, one of the most famous poems written in the Romantic era. Madame Zahra, please grace the stage.
Thank you so much, Litika. You are doing an amazing job, and it is so delightful to be amongst such talented people. and I'm very delighted to be on this platform once again. I'm not a poet exactly, but yes, I can use my words very well. And I am quite I would say that I'm an empath. So I kind of relate to emotions of people, and I'm a self-healer. So I kind of keep motivating myself as well. So I have these two, what you can say, self-motivational poems. And actually, most of the time, we come across our friends who are into some kind of trouble and they suffer a lot, and they are not able to get out of their pain. Something just cannot let them move on. So being an empathetic person, I always want to be an agony aunt to them. So I always wonder, what am I going to, how am I going to motivate my friend and help her come out of this situation which she just can't handle. So I have penned down some words, and yeah, so the title would be Seize the Suffering. Wash away the scars that lurks in some corner of your heart. The bruises it causes, it reminds you of losses. You've held those long enough. Now let them depart. The ordeal is not yours to endure any longer. You need to burn the pain to ashes. Relieve your thoughts of the pricking thorns. Feel the softness of green grasses. The memories will linger, undoubtedly. Fading them will be a task. Claim the lessons it taught you. Some hidden teachings it may unmask. Amidst all chaos, life doesn't stand still. You were brought up to control your emotions. You need to show your skill. Cease your grieving. My friend, cease your grieving. Your despair is mortal. Embark on the journey of healing. Let the artist in you perform, who knows the art of living. So I guess this was one of it, my motivational
Very nice, very nice.
Poem for anybody who just cannot move forward from any kind of suffering. And also this one self evolution poem that I have written, I guess this is more relatable to me because every woman can relate to this, because we generally find ourselves in a phase where we see a very stark transformation in our nature. We generally just jump to someone else, and sometimes you just cannot relate to your old self. Like, you just keep wondering, why am I having so much of transformations in me? Why do I not feel the same like I used to in my 20s and 30s? So I kind of pen down these words to whatever I felt that time. So this poem has the title of Self-Evolution. I can't recognize myself. This new version of me. Am I becoming someone else? The one I never wanted to be. As I look closer into my soul and ransack through my virtues, I may have just lost them now. They no longer seem to be of use. I apprehend this phase of life, searching for my grace and charm. I miss the emotions that made me once a catalyst, an empath, and a person so warm. Over the years, trying to please and impress, I've earned myself a great deal of regret. Over the years, trying to please and impress, yeah, that's my nature. I've earned myself a great deal of regret in a pursuit of always making things right. To explore myself is unfinished yet. I unseize my ego. I unseize my ego for better or for worse. In this transition, I put my trust. With flitting time, I may find me again. With flitting time, I may find me again. Albeit, this journey is a must. So yeah, that was it from me.
Very nice, very nice.
Thank you so much.
It's a fact that trying to impress, we often suppress ourselves.
Yeah, because every woman kind of passes through this phase where she finds herself becoming someone else, and she's kind of happy also, to embrace this transition, this new version of herself, and she's now more living for herself rather than just trying to live for everybody in her life, like and please everyone.
Great. That's
Yeah.
great. And I think when Miss Louis speaks, she can talk a lot on this topic.
Yes, and Zara, I love the word also that, you are an artist and you have to make your own art of living. It's a very lovely line.
Definitely, it's a self-healing process. So you must not wait for anyone else to come and tell you to, move on. This should come from within. You should have that self-healing property in you. Like, you have to know how to fight your ordeals. Moving on. Life doesn't stand still. You have to keep moving on.
You've made me smile, for my lady, you've won my heart. If you're an artist, Madame, we'll be the easel. Thank you so much. And as we move ahead, aren't we all supposed to agree that Victorian era is one of the best eras out there? In general, classic Victorian compositions are exceptionally attentive to verse, display some sentimentality, and often play on a chivalric theme. Poets of this time often composed epic poems and dramatic monologues. The sonnet form was also frequently used. And the Britain's Victorian era lasted from 1837 to 1901. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held, but just ourselves and immortality. An excerpt from a poem written by Emily Dickinson, one of the most famous Victorian poets. Shahab Feroz sir, the stage is all yours.
Yeah, hello. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, great. It's an honor, to recite poetry in front of the star-cladded night, out here with the wonderful poetry just recited before me, and it's really great. And I'm going to speak, or I'm going to recite a poetry on Exodus. That's the poetry that I have here. It starts with the tyrant raises venomous hood in the land of peace in the wood. The peace is then shattered to pieces like a boiling pan where survival ceases. The ethnic soup of human race splatters blood to lift its face. The evil minds with their righteous garb, chopping life with their pagan barb. Their land is an abattoir with human flesh, where butchers parade for necks to slash. With shattered lives and shattered hopes, towards foreign land the neck elopes. They cling to feathers for a pinch of life, to fly with birds, to escape the rife. In foreign land, they fall to rise. They work hard for peace in their eyes. Adapting with the flow of time, they whisper of their loss in rhyme. The exodus that disrupts their life and soul towards peace they dwell and play their roles. Thank you so much.
Very
Will,
nice, very nice, very nice. And welcome to PLG family.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
will being a lover of tyranny make me a tyrant myself? Methinks yes. I would like to thank thee for thy words, sir. Thank you. And now comes my favorite era, the Edwardian era. The Edwardian period was known for elegance and luxury among the rich and powerful in Britain, but also for moral looseness and for a general failure to prepare for some of the challenges of the 20th century, particularly the World War I, which broke out, I think, around 4 years after the death of King Edward. Take my youth that died today, lay him on a rose-leaf bed. He so gallant was and gay, let them hide his tumbled head. Roses passionate and red that so swiftly fade away. This was an excerpt from a poem written by an anonymous poet, but a magnificent poem. Sherebanu, madame, please steal the show.
Please unmute yourself.
Hello, sorry. Good morning, Salaam Alaikum, Namaskar, and Adab. There was someone at the doorbell, so I think I missed that it was my turn. So, welcome, Mrs. Louis Wagner, to our English episode. So, Falsab, Simiji, Ruchi Jain, Zara, Likhi, you're doing a wonderful job. It's you only who can present the show in this Victorian style. Hats off to you.
Definitely, I'm amazed.
Yes, Shekhar ji, Anupam Pathak ji, and Pallavi Jain, all of you wonderful poets. I have joined this English poetry session after a very, very long time. You know, it's one of my favorite and closest to the heart. And though I'm in a process of house moving, like after 20 years, I have moved to another home. And in the midst of this movers and packers, yet I couldn't help joining this English special episode. So I was trying to ruffle my diary to pick out something very happy, perky, and bright poem, but unfortunately it's still in the suitcase. So I could just fumble upon few papers which I had, and I would like to recite the poem on that. So my poem is actually titled Tears, you know, and what I'd like to say that is normally a decluttering of thoughts, your emotions. Sometimes there's transition in life. Sometimes it is a journey of poetry, and our poetry is in this journey. And they give you solace and yet the energy to ace. So this my poem, you know, all of us, like they go through a lot of things in life. And sometimes you need sorrow to just pen up few things. As Anupam Pathak ji had said, that daydreaming is different poetry, and actually what you write is different poetry. So the Almighty has blessed us, each one of us, with the gift of tears, and which speak history, present, and the future. And they are doorway to our eyes. So here I begin my poem. My tears. My strength and my weakness, my imprisonment and my freedom are my tears. Sprouting of pain from the cloudy eyelids, or a relief of despair. Strange wonder are my tears. The far end of my hymns and chants, the gateway of my emotions, sometimes manifesting into a shrine of happiness. They have a language of their own. My lifelong earnings, lustrous like pearls, are my tears. The medicine for my loneliness, my companion in solitude. Fragile tears are the inbuilt mechanism in the pupil of the eye, my inspiration, my identity. The warm water nestles in the iris, mirroring bright shades and also the cold seasons of life. They reflect piety and innocence. Sometimes streaming live from the crescent of the dam, they stop to flow again. These are the rhythm and speed of my life. When the eyesight glistens with its saline moisture, the arrival of tears pushes the ink from the pen. Very valuable are thy tears. The powerful tearfall holds many a secret. Sometimes they reveal, at times silent, hidden in the contours of the eyes. These are their styles, though speechless, yet they converse. Enjoy, thank you. Enjoy, they are enclosed. In sorrow, they are scattered like blessed clouds and rains. Thy tears in the prism of my eyelids. On rough paths of life, they are like the morning dew gleaming on my cheeks, sometimes shining like stars in the black veil of night. Very colorful artwork are thy tears. Thank you so much, and I hope you all will agree to this. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent recitation.
Wow,
Excellent
it was a
poem.
great poetry, great
Thank
imagination.
you.
Lovely, lovely.
I am alarmed and amused with thy words. Thou hast won me yet again, my dear. And then we move on to the Georgian era. The Georgian period saw Britain establish itself as an international power at the center of expanding its empire. An accelerating change from the 1770s onwards made it the world's first industrialized nation. I met a lady in the maids, full, beautiful, a fairy's child. Her hair was long, her foot was light, and her eyes were wild. She found me roots of relish sweet, and honey wild, and manadu. Sure in language, strange she said, I love thee true. If Zoeb sir is here, please steal the stage, sir.
I think he
sir
is
is interrupted.
disconnected, so
Yes,
you may take the next one.
I will move on. Yes. If Zoeb sir is here, I'm sorry. And we move on to the Harlem Renaissance. The Harlem Renaissance instilled in African Americans across the country a new spirit of self-determination and pride, a new social consciousness, and a new commitment to the political activism, all of which would provide a foundation for the civil rights movements of the 1950s and the 1960s. From blank to blank, a threadless way, I pushed mechanic feet to stop or perish or advance. Like indifferent, if I end, I gain, it ends beyond. Indefinite disclosed, I shut my eyes and groped as well. 'Twas lighter to be blind. Our chief guest, Miss Loie Wagner. Madame, the stage is all yours.
Can I request Ms. Loie to wait for a moment because Mr. Zoeb has joined. So let's listen to Zoeb and then we go to our chief guest. Mr.
Thank you very
Zoeb,
much. Sir. Thank you. Thank you to PLG, Simeji, and all the core members of the committee. Today's program, and with the permission of Miss Lois Wagner, I want to read two small poems. The first poem, Likita. Are you there, Likita? Hello.
I am here, sir. I am very here.
Yeah, okay. Am I audible to all?
You are audible, sir. You are audible.
Yes. So the first poem is titled Desire. To shine like the sun at dawn, to spread like the moon at dusk, twinkle to hide and seek, stars in the dark sky. My desire is like clouds which hang high and pass by. Spread the fragrance as the flowers sway in the vines. Spread the fragrance as the flowers sway in the vines, mischievous as the lark and cuckoo it binds. My desire to soar high in the sky as the kite the bird. From sky blue I take the softness, coolness from the breeze. From the earth I learn tolerance. Mountains with sheer drops. My desire to dwell as such. Share the comfort and mortals less. Share a smile on a child well fed. Desire that the rain aplenty to stir the parched land. Lush fields to feed the deprived. A desire to see all at peace. Fight for the land. Fight for the faith. Fight for the wealth. Mortals lost for comfort. No praise for provider. I desire to live and let live. From darkness to light. The second poem is Hope. Hope of the year. Actually, we are at the end of this year, and the new year very nearby is almost about a week away from now, 2 weeks away from now. So hope of the year ahead is here. To have seen hopes of the year gone by came true to some or to some not. I lived the year gone to ring in the new with hopes, the good in you. The child in me hopes to return back to the days of joyous begone, back to the days of joyous life begone. Caged person, I am in prison as prisoner, longing in hope for my youth whence gone. Longing in hope of my youth whence gone. Childhood spoiled in growing up. Childhood is spoiled in growing up. Cold, dreary night turn to day, bright and alive. Then I am amongst the tall trees. Then I am amongst the tall trees, alive with fauna and hope. We green the earth and seem blue amongst the stars. Hope keeps alive a person poor. Hope keeps alive a person poor who dreams to see her child a scholar. Hopes of a mother not undone. As the farmers look skywards, not washed away from storm, to see the harvest full. The hopes of nation held in shackles finds utterance. Again in red by rogue governance, hopes to rebuild by person of wit. Hopes takes a child, a youth, a poor, a rich, to toil for change. Change inevitably comes. Thank you very much.
I thank thee, sir.
Very nice, very nice.
Thank you all.
I thank thee, sir, for making time, even in a busy schedule. Thank you. And moving on. In the world of literature, we see the milestones, we see the sweat, we see the words, and we see the poetry, and we see literature. Like music to the blind, poetry was to be appreciated, although it did take time. Poetry found the appreciation it deserved. Let's now gather around, friends, countrymen and mine dearest petals. Hear ye, we have to fail, sir, reciting for us now. My lord, we are all ears for you.
Thank you so much, Likita. You are doing a wonderful anchoring. I'm so pleased to see the way you presented the history of English literature through your and you embedded it in today's program, and I think you have made today's program memorable. Right.
Thanks
With
a
the permission
million.
of our chief guest, Ms. Loy, I would like to recite my poem. Although it's not my turn, but I think we have some time, and Likita asked me to do it, so I have to. As with the advent of December, the festivity spreads in the weather, and everybody starts gathering to get into the festive mood. And I call it the Festival of Medicine. The title of the poem is Festival is a Medicine. I call Festival a medicine as I have seen the poorest of poor wearing the best of dress from their shutterless wardrobe, torn at places, stitched with visible seams, smiling like a queen in the lap of a king. On the eve of the festival, be it Christmas, Eid, or Diwali. And that's why I call festival a medicine. I have seen those who can barely meet their 2 square meals, making the pudding out of the rice saved by keeping aside a cup every day and offering happily to all the passers-by. And that's why I call festival a medicine. I've seen people limping out of pain, walking on crutches, happily marching towards the church, mosque, or temple with a broad smile, hiding the signs of the pricking pain. And that's why I call festival a medicine. I have seen a weak old man walking at the dawn, crawling out of bed, trying to balance himself with the help of his grandsons, barely able to raise hands to pull the sleeves of the new shirt on his bent back. And that's why I call festival a medicine. I have seen a widow who had spent a year mourning in the memory of the departed soul coming out of the shell and joining the chorus of the festive song. And that's why I call festival a medicine. The festive mood makes all to forget the pain and the grief. And for those few days, even the unluckiest man feels somewhat blessed. And that's why I call festival a medicine. And that's why I call festival a medicine. Thank you so much. And before Likita moves on to our chief guest, I think we still have some more time left in our program schedule.
Tufail Saab, just a comment on your poetry. Our PLG every meet itself is a festival in itself every week and a medicine in itself.
Definitely.
I cannot agree enough, ma'am. I cannot agree enough.
True.
Poetry is definitely a medicine of the soul and the heart. Right. So before Likita takes us to our chief guest, I think we must listen to our most talented young, or I would say our one of the best poet. I won't say young because I would like to drop that adjective here. Why not? Let's listen to Likita.
You flatter me, sir, you do. And my lord, I hope you're aware of the beauty the words own. Thou art one of thy kind, and I cannot emphasize enough on that. And since the whole theme, since I have tried to maintain the Victorian theme and throughout the entire session, I have a little something. I have written something channeling the inner fantasy lover in me, the me that I'd visualize most every other day, running barefoot, dressed in a huge ball gown down the empty hallways of a castle. That is one of my biggest fantasies. And I've named that inner me Alicia. And Alicia means, it has lots of meanings, but I think the one I found means carefree and brave, and the one who doesn't care about what comes next and lives in the moment. And the poem goes this way. The air carried subtle notes from the piano drifting past a girl. She clutched onto her notebook, tight against her chest. Brown curls, red-tinted cheeks. She bit her lip, staring at the pensive meadows and fields and larks dwelling around. Scent of lavender lingering around her, the rough and pristine cloak hugging and appreciating her waist all too well. She scribbles in black ink below the pages. She stuck dandelions. Verses and strings of words in poetry. Her thoughts flowed and molded. She never had to wonder where her mind wandered. Whispering at the French libraries or the humming dance hallways, she waltzed her way through life as she just knew her reality was something she made for herself, crafted to perfection. And I do not know if I'll ever get to live that dream of mine, running barefoot in an empty hallway in a castle. But writing this poem, I think it definitely made me feel like I can make it true someday. Someday. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I am really sorry we had to cut Miss Louie Wagner midway. So I would like to continue with that, as I think we were introducing the Harlem Renaissance period. And I would like to recite another favorite verse of mine written in the Harlem Renaissance period. It goes like, how would you have us as we are, or sink neath the load we bear, our eyes fixed forward on a star, or gazing empty at despair? An excerpt written by James Weldon Johnson. Madame, the stage is all yours.
Thank you very much. So as I said at the beginning, I do more rhyme than poetry. So I threw this little one together just to share some of my experiences through travel. And I've called it Connecting Cultures Through Travel. I spent many of my years traveling to exotic and unusual destinations. This led to the considerable unraveling of preconceived cultural expectations. I discovered below the apparent exterior of people's lives and attitudes, perhaps I was the one who was inferior, judging with petty, pointless platitudes. Ignoring all the preconceived dangers, I visited Iran to great hospitality, drinking illegal whiskey with strangers, enjoying encounters with much joviality. Cherrapunji, the wettest place on earth, over 4,000 stairs to climb to see the living bridges giving birth, growing new roots and stronger over time. America, go home, shouted all the locals as I admired the Pakistani truck decorations. I'm South African, I responded to their vocals, and so we developed meaningful relations. In Sri Lanka, I decided to travel by tuk-tuk. The driver took me around all the bends, showing me every secret cranny and nook, today we are still the best of friends. After a palm was thoroughly greased in the Haitian city of Port-au-Prince, my fortune was told by a voodoo priest. Thankfully, nothing has changed since. In Rwanda, they overcame genocide. They had banned all forms of plastic to ensure the cleanest countryside and a nation in every sense fantastic. There was no way that I could predict, as I enjoyed the Zambian serenity, that I would be viciously kicked by a zebra. It was a brutal obscenity. Cuba is filled with music and dance and the friendliest of hosts in homestays. Old cars need more than a second glance, and cigars and rum are the greatest craze. I have so many other exciting tales to share of how traveling has broadened my mind, of how it has made me more aware of how we are all alike, mankind. And I've just thrown together another little rhyme. So if you'll indulge me, it starts, if I can read my writing. And a poem. How old are you? What is your age? Shektar brings us a drop in a watery gauge. Renima taught us the value of a teacher. Richie shared how feelings feature. Pallavi shared the love of a mother into flow, and Zera on how suffering can help us grow. Sherab told us how in Exodus we rise, and Sherabanu about the strength and freedom of tears and cries. Zoebas took us floating on a cloud of desire, and Tufal, thanks for leading this festival of medicine choir. And finally to Lakita, she took us through the literature history and removed so much of all that mystery. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, wonderful. Nice to hear you after a long time.
Thou leave me intrigued. Thou leave me intrigued, for thou hast mastered the art of working magic with words. I see through thy experiences, though you are just speaking about them. Beautiful. Thank you. And so we take an instant to appreciate the people whom has gone through pain and gore. There were women and men whom had to fight for their freedom of writing. I take mine leave with the word that we're the ones to appreciate art. I'd like to crave Madame Simi to please say the voice of thanks.
Likita, Mrs. Viva Tiwari is here on the screen. So why not get the magazine unraveled by our chief guest, Ms. Loy, and then we progress further.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So today's poetry was going on very well, and Likita is creating new milestones, and she is just crossing her own milestones with a big, with big steps, or she is jumping throughout. And today she was very mild. And
I'm a mere amateur, ma'am. Thank you so very much.
She was creating new phrases. And I like the way she was addressing my lord, new things. So, but for us, she is the same schoolgirl, which we seen just 4 years before. And this is the magazine. This is the last week's magazine, and the beautiful mandala art, or this is called the dot mandala, which is in which all the colors are used, and so many geometric patterns are used in it to explain the feelings of an artist, and they are just used in a very beautiful way. So it can express the feelings, the broken lines and the dots and these studs and diamonds and all these sparkling things. They creates the different feelings and the points of expressions, the bright and light colors, the contrasts, and everything is very beautiful and artistically designed. And this cover picture is shared by Dharti Vasani ji. And thank you, Dharti Vasani ji, for this beautiful picture, and beautiful report after that is written and explained by our honorable media manager, Anupam Kumar Pathak ji. And after that, our poems are there, and respected Nan Saraswat Swadeshi ji was our anchor. So after him, all our poets are there, and beautiful poems have been recited last week, and this magazine is for you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Likhita. I think we are not being late today.
No. Thank you very much,
this
Shivaji.
poem
And,
is
for information of our chief guest, that we publish all the poems recited in this week in the magazine, in the form of a magazine the next week. So the magazine which you are seeing is the magazine of the last week, and the next week we will have the magazine with the poems recited in this week. So I would request Louis to formally inaugurate this magazine, to unravel this magazine.
Sure, I can forward it to you, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
So now we go over to Simiji for the word of thanks.
Good evening, Namaskar, Salam. Today's program, English Special Poetry Meet, was very special. All poets recited high quality poems. Licky Doll did a marvelous job as an anchor. She is very good poet as well as an anchor. What can I say about her? Words are small. I cannot define her talent. I am speechless. Likhita explained the history of English literature through illustration in the form of painting from Anglo-Saxon era to the modern era. Thank you so much, Doll, for an outstanding anchoring. God bless you. Keep shining. We are thankful to our chief guest, Louis Wagner, for gracing the occasion and sharing her thoughts with us. Miss Louis talked about importance of poetry in our lives. Miss Louis, you rightly said poetry connects people to each other. Thank you so much, Miss Louis, for giving your precious time. Our scholar poets did wonder. Anupam Pathakji's poem title was Old or Mature. Shekhar Anandji's poem title was A Drop. Arunima's poem title was Us. Ruchi's poem's title were I Am Thinking Of, and second poem, Beautiful Golden Heart. Pallaviji's poem title was Flow. Zahraji's poem title were Suffering, I Can't Recognize Myself. Shahabji's poem title was About the Talent. Sherebanoji's poem title was My Tears. Zoeb Dalalji's poem title were Desire and Hope. Tufailji's poem title was Festival in a Majesty. Licky Doll's poem's title was Alicia. Our chief guest poem was about tales of traveling. Thank you so much, each and every poet, for your excellent recitation. I would like to thank Global President, Mr. Tufail. I would like to thank Global Vice President, Mr. Satishji and Anupam Kingalji. I would like to thank all regional presidents, Vibhaji, Manomaji, Sharadji, Anitutaji, and Khalidji. For media report, I would like to thank Kapil Batraji, Anupam Kingaji, Anupam Pathakji, and Sherebanoji, and Kiran Chaudharyji. For e-magazine, I would like to thank Chief Editor Vibhaji, Hindi editor Purnima ji, art design editor Dr. Shalini ji. For interview with a great personality, I would like to thank Anupam Kinger ji and Pipa ji. For mentorship program, I would like to thank Professor Satish ji, Kapil Batra ji, Ram Sarup Dikshit ji, Anupam Ramesh Kinger ji, Braj Kishore ji, Vinay Mohanta ji, and Mustaq Sadav ji. For certificates, I would like to thank Manawar Rahman ji. For poster and video, I would like to thank Amir Tufail and Arif Tufail. For press release, I would like to thank Kiran ji and Nandita ji. I would also like to thank all our viewers who are watching the program through YouTube. See you tomorrow in PLG program interview with a great personality at 7:30 p.m. Indian time. Our guest will be a great artist and poet Mr. Zoeb Dalal, and host will be Vibha Tiwari ji. And our next program will be on next Saturday. The theme will be celebrating the legend, and poet of the month will be Urdu poet Ms. Mir Taqi Mir. Till then, goodbye, good night.
And with that, we come to an end of the program.